Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm joined with Craig, and Craig has ulcerative colitis, and he does a lot of work with raising awareness to IBD, especially with, with his cars, and I think it's awesome. Well, thanks, Craig, for coming on today.
No worries, Mason. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Could you just start off, maybe just saying a little bit who you are, about yourself?
Yeah, no worries. My name's Craig. I'm known as Driven to Fight UK on Instagram. It's a pretty new account. I've only been doing it since I think it was August last year, and that were while I were in hospital. I didn't really talk about ulcerative colitis or what I had. I used to sort of hide it away, typical guy, really. Not talking about things. And then obviously this hospital visits woke me up, I think, a little bit. And it was actually one of my friends that sort of gave me the idea to start doing things. Well, he didn't give me a direct idea of doing things with my car, but I met him through cars. And when he saw pictures of me in hospital and things like that, he said, I had no clue that you had ulcerative colitis or what it were or how bad it were, which then gave me the little light bulb moment of, right, okay, maybe I can do something with cars to sort of raise awareness. And I've gone from one extreme to another now. I've gone from not talking about it to having it plastered all over my car. And so, yeah, it's like I say, when I started it, I thought if I reach 50 people, that'd be cool. And sort of start talking about it. But it seems to have taken off quite quickly. So I guess I just see it as one of these where if somebody's talking about my car, whether it's in a negative way or a positive way, someone's talking about IBD in general. So I just see it all as a positive, really.
Yeah, because I think it's quite good that you choose to raise awareness with your car, because what sort of things would you say you do with your car to raise awareness of IBD?
Well, obviously the main ones is the livery on the car. I obviously spoke to Crohn's and Colitis UK, Guts UK, and I've just started speaking to C3, I think it's called, Cure Crohn's and Colitis. So yeah, they were my first sort of options to put on the car, but I didn't want to just do it all IBD. I wanted to sort of do it so there were car manufacturers, parts companies, sort of tying the two together so that the interests of the car companies sort of get woken up by the IBD side of things as well. So it's not just IBD people that be interested in it, it's sort of the car community as well.
Yeah.
So trying to tie the two together, but reach as many people as possible. So I try and do as many track days as possible, try and go to as many car shows, events, things like that. Just to try and get it out there as much as possible, just so as many people can see it as possible. I'd like to do my racing license at some point. I don't think that's going to be this year. It's probably going to be next year. I want to just focus on just getting the car out there this year, get booked on as many shows, things like that as possible. And it just seems like everybody who's seen it so far, it seems pretty positive. I am normally in the car world, you sort of get people going, oh, I don't like that, I don't like this colour, da-da-da-da-da. But it all seems to be pretty positive. So yeah, I'm just going along, raising as much awareness as I possibly can. I try and do it, obviously. I've brought out some stickers, things like that. I've started a bit of a website, which is very basic. So I'm just trying to do as much as I can while still working at the same. I feel super busy at the minute, which isn't a bad thing. But I'd like to plow more, time into my awareness side of it, really.
Yeah, because I think it's good because you focus on the actual car itself, wanting to go to events, and then as well as putting things on the car just to make it visible that you're doing it to raise awareness for IBD, but at the same time have fun with it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've always said that when I'm doing things with cars, it's a big distraction for me. It's a hobby, yes, but when I'm sort of on track or I'm doing something with my car, I sort of switch off from. I know it sounds daft, like we're having it all over my car now, but I sort of switch off from just thinking, oh, what if I need the toilet, or what if this happens? Why, you know what I mean? And it just sort of takes the worry away. So yeah, it's a big distraction for me. Is that?
Yeah. Has it like, has that always been something that you've been interested in, like racing cars and maybe watching it on TV?
No, not really. I mean, I probably didn't get interested in cars until my first car, and I ended up fixing it all the time and working on it and things like that because obviously it was cheap and I couldn't afford much. But yeah, that was the first time I started getting into cars, and then it sort of spiraled from there really. And the car that I've got now that I raise awareness with, I sort of took that to a local track. I'd done absolutely nothing to it, took it on, and then the bug just started from there. Because when I bought that car, I always said, "Oh, I'm never going to touch it. I'm never going to put any wheels. I'm never going to modify it. I'm not going to do anything." And then it's kind of at the stage it is now. So yeah, I sort of lied to myself a little bit there, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and like with your ulcerative colitis side of things, when was you diagnosed with ulcerative colitis?
I was diagnosed at 18. I'm now 38. So I've been through quite a lot of medication. I sort of, when I first went in, I didn't take it that seriously. Because when you're 18, I suppose you sort of go to the hospital or the doctors, they give you some pills and then you're fixed and away you go. They found it after a colonoscopy because at the beginning they were saying it was IBS, or I just had a dodgy stomach and there weren't much going on, but I kept going back. I ended up having a colonoscopy. They found ulcerative colitis. They gave me some steroids, and then I was in remission for probably about 5 or 6 years, I think it were. So again, that probably helped with not taking it too seriously. But then as time's gone on, and I've tried other medications, and the steroids don't seem to do as much for me now, the tablet form. Intravenous steroids seem to do more when I'm in hospital, but they're not ideal. And then I've sort of been hit with it quite hard now because after I went in remission for a bit, I've never really been back in remission since. So, like I say, the medications that I have been on now, I've gone from steroids to azathioprine. What did I have next? I think I had Humira after that, which is like the first biologic I had. Then I went on to tofacitinib, and now I'm on Stelara, which, touch wood, seems to be making a bit of a difference. But I am very aware of if my body needs a rest now, I sort of take that time out. Because my last hospital visit, I was sort of like working non-stop, pretending again that it didn't exist. And I think I kind of run myself into the ground a little bit and made myself 10 times worse. So yeah, I'm sort of listening to my body a lot more now. And then obviously since starting my Instagram page and everything else and seeing like the IBD community and reading bits and pieces what they share with, it sort of makes me listen to my body more. Because I think that's a big part of it. And I can't keep just running myself into the ground. I'm probably going to get worse at that point. So yeah, I'm sort of taking notice. It's taken a long time, but I'm started to take notice of my body now. So yeah.
It does take time to kind of, I suppose, understand like what it does to your body, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I say, from an early age and then jumping sort of quite into remission, it's sort of like at that point I just thought, oh, I'll go back to the hospital, they'll give me some pills and I'll be good for another 5 or 6 years and it'll be all right. But it's just not gone that way at all. It's sort of, yeah, it's got to a point now where I'm on Stelara, but I've told the hospital that I want all my cards on the table now. So I'm having a conversation with a surgeon in June, just so every option's open to me. So it's sort of like, if the Stelara fails, then I'm not waiting to speak to a surgeon for another few months or whatever, you know. So if I've got all the options out there, then I know where I'm at. But they've sort of said to me now that regarding the Stelara, because this is my second or third biologic, they sort of think that after this is going to be sort of the surgery route if, you know, because they sort of say the more biologics that you're on, I don't know whether this is true, but the more biologics that you're on, the less chance there are of them working. Like I say, I don't know how true that is, or they just want to get surgery done because biologics are expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, I think most people are on quite a lot of them. Like I've been on, like when I was diagnosed in 2017, I was straight away on steroids.
Yeah.
And then my first one was infliximab, so I had infusions, but I had the choice of going Humira first, but
Right.
I wanted to be in hospital because I didn't know much about my Crohn disease at the time. So I was on infliximab. That worked for a year, and then after that, I was on Humira, which I had to take every 2 weeks at home, and that's been all right. But it has been ups and downs, like with um the like going right and wrong when you do the injections. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you mean. Like you come to a point where it's like how many to go take for you to be on until you're in a good place.
Yeah, it's strange because I sort of put a post on Instagram the other day listing all the medications and drugs that I've been on. And it's crazy what seems to work really well for one person just does not work for another person. It's just so varied. I've never known. It's like I say, you sort of go to the doctors and you say you've got, I don't know, something wrong with you, and it's sort of like the generic pill for everybody, and it fixes you. But with IBD or Crohn's and colitis, it just seems like it's so varied. And like I say, what works for one don't work for somebody else. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's the scary part of it for me, because there's just the not knowing, because it's sort of like you feel like you're being given something and it's just like rolling the dice. Is that going to work? Is it not? Am I going to be, what's next? Am I going in for surgery? So yeah, it's like I say, I'm not opposed to surgery or anything. Again, opening the RBD sort of page on my Instagram, as I'm seeing people with stomas and things like that, sort of opened my eyes to it. But there were a time when I'd say when I were 18 or 19 that having like a stoma back or anything like that, I'd be like, oh no, well, that's never going to happen, you know. Whereas now I'm like a lot more open to it, because I've spoken to people who've got them and they're like, it's changed my life. You know, I've got my life back. But I'm stubborn, so it's one of them where like it's not like admitting defeat, but I don't know, I'd just like to keep trying to fight it the way I'm fighting it at the moment. Do you know what I mean? There might be, like I said, might be a time where I've had enough. I want to throw in the towel. I want surgery. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
I always think it's like last resort, isn't it? Like a surgery or having a stoma. Like
yeah,
if all the medication that you're on, you can't do it. Like you physically can't do anymore. You're on the verge of like death doors and stuff like that. And that's how I look at it. Like I'm not too. I like you. I see lots like on Instagram. I see lots of people raising awareness of having stomas, and I think it's a whole different thing, isn't it? Upon like
yeah,
having that chronic illness, it's that learning to understand that again. It's kind of a different process, but in a way similar, because it takes you away to kind of maybe accept and understand your IBD, which with the stoma as well. But it's scary. I still to this day, it's scary thought of having one. But it's good to see that like the community is so accepting with them, and that you feel kind of not alone if you did have to one.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one big thing for me that I've taken from this, is that I used to just think I was on my own in the world, and I couldn't speak. How do you speak to you, like some of your friends about, you know, potentially like crapping yourself, or you know what I mean? It's just like a conversation that you don't sort of bring up. So I felt very alone for a long time. My family tried to speak to me about it, like I said, and I had nothing to do with them. Probably bite their head off about it, get really moody about it. But then since starting on them and meeting people that have got it, you just feel less alone. And I wish, I honestly wish, and I stress this to everybody now that I speak to, I honestly wish that I'd I'm spoken out about it a lot sooner and spoken to people that have it a lot sooner. Because I think mentally it was horrible at some stages, absolutely horrible. And like we were just talking then about surgery and things. When I've been rock bottom, and I understand why people do it, when I've been absolutely rock bottom, I'm like, yeah, I'm not bothered. I'll have surgery. And you're sort of like not in the right frame. I don't know, not in the right frame of thinking, but you've just had enough. And I can I completely understand why people go down that road. Like I say, if this biologic fails for me, yeah, I'm probably going to go down that road. That's why I've asked to speak to a surgeon. But there would have been a time that I wouldn't have even had that conversation. So I think sometimes the mental side of it is worse than the actual physical, like what's the word I'm looking for? Symptoms of it. Because I've been in some really rubbish places, like mentally. We're just feeling like I'm completely on my own. Whereas, like I say, now speaking to you, speaking to other people that have got it, it just makes you. I don't know. It just opens everything up. So that's the biggest advice I can give to anybody is, and especially if you're a guy as well, because like you go on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it all seems to be a lot of girls that are quite cool with showing things, which is absolutely brilliant. And there's a few guys on there. I'm not saying there aren't any guys on there, but there's not as many. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think like I say, the biggest advice I can give to anyone is just talk about it to somebody that's got it, because they completely understand and they get it.
Yeah, like I've actually had a fair few conversations about that, like with guys and their mental health and kind of hiding their emotions, because it's hard, isn't it? So like it's hard to like show your emotions if you're a man, because you feel like you're not manly enough to do that. And it is hard because like you might need to cry once in a while if things are really hard, and you feel like you shouldn't, like you should hide that because to be strong in a way, but you have to do that sometimes.
It's like a stupid thing of showing weakness, isn't it? Really, so you think that people are going to think less of you for sort of like talking about it. And for me, I've learned now that if somebody has a problem with me having colitis, IBD, or anything like that, then it's not someone that I really want to know. Do you know what I mean? They're not really your friend. If they have an issue with that, then that's their problem.
Yeah, like we can't help that we have this, can we? It's not like we didn't.
We didn't choose it.
No, where the plan went.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I didn't have to have it, then yeah, that'd be brilliant. But that's the cards I've been dealt, and I'm just getting on with it now. So I'm sort of trying to make up for all the times I haven't spoke about it, to completely like waffling on and probably doing everybody's head in about it now. But
yeah, because like it is like I think it is quite hard at the start, like when you're getting diagnosed and everything. But as the years go by, you kind of I suppose enjoy having it in a way, because like although there's so many horrible things that come with like ulcerative colitis, IBD, Crohn's disease, but there's good things you can take out of it. Like we wouldn't have probably done this today if we didn't have IBD. So there's good things upon having a chronic illness.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've met so many cool people now, to the point where I were at a bit of a car show the other day, and someone came up to me and they're like, "Oh, Craig, you all right?" And I'm like, "Don't have a clue who this is." And they're like, "Oh, follow you on Instagram and stuff like that." And then I've worked out it works, because like in the car world, you sort of know everybody off the cars.
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Oh, can I have a picture with you?" And stuff. And it's just things like that sort of put me out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, it's good that you're meeting people that have it and they're feeling like they can speak to you about it. So yeah, I think it does encourage like the sticker side of things. A lot of people that have you sort of go on their Instagram and they've said nothing about what they've got, Crohn's, colitis or whatever, but they feel comfortable enough just to put a sticker on their car or whatever else, and that's just their way of doing it, which is absolutely fine. If there were a time when I wouldn't have even done that, I wouldn't have even admitted it. But if that's like a step for them, making them feel more comfortable, then that's good. That's the positive I take from that.
Yeah, like I think like it's a good way, because you don't see many people doing that, like with cars. I find like with raising awareness for IBD. So like I'll say you're the first that I've come across that's done that, and like it's a really good way, because like most people go in their cars daily, either to go to work or just go out for a drive, go out somewhere.
Yeah.
But so it's very visible, isn't it? It makes that more like if a person's like driving behind you, it's like, oh no, it's got ulcerative colitis and stuff. So it makes it really
it's in your face. So it's like when you're out and about, you're looking around, aren't you? You're looking at things. So even if you're not thinking about colitis or Crohn's or anything like that at the time, you see that, and so that. Like I don't use it all the time, my car. I mainly use it for events and stuff now. But I think the last podcast I did on It Takes Guts, I was talking on there, and she was like, "Do you ever take it to like Morrison's or anything like that?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can do, but I never really do." And then I took it to Morrison's just for that reason, because it had been brought up. I took it to Morrison's, and these two ladies come up to me and said, "Oh, my nephew's got Crohn's and colitis. You never see anyone really talking about it." And I got really chatting with them. I thought, oh, maybe I should take it to supermarkets more often, because it's just like I ended up giving them some stickers and a card and stuff like that, and they were like, "Oh, I'll give it to my nephew." And it's just little things like that where if you reach out to someone, it's like more acceptable. It's like a lot of parents seem to follow me on Instagram whose children have got it, and I think they're going for a similar thing where they don't really want to talk about it. They're not, they don't know how to deal. It's a lot, isn't it? As soon as you get diagnosed and you're on infusions or whatever else, it's a lot to take in. So yeah, just bumping into people and stuff like that and making them feel like, look, you're fine talking about it because I've got it all over my car. So I'm not hiding from it. So if that eventually makes them comfortable to start speaking about it, then that's a win-win for me.
Yeah. It's almost like you're like famous.
Oh no, seriously, I am so uncomfortable. Like, don't get me wrong, like people come up to me and everything else, but like even now, this is like out of my comfort zone because I just don't like talking about myself. I know that's really stupid on an awareness page, but I just try and be me. Yeah, and I don't see myself. Someone said it the other day, whose son, and you're like, oh shit, if he ever met you, you're like, to him, you're like a celebrity. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not. Really, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a normal guy that's just trying to find his way, really. And if I can raise awareness or raise the money for the charities that follow me, then yeah, it's all a plus. At the end of the day, we all want to find a cure, don't we?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. But you think, like, I think even if a cure was found, we'd all still be talking about Crohn's, IBD, ulcerative colitis, because it wouldn't be forgotten about. I would think so.
Yeah, I mean the thing that you see now is, for me, it's because it seems like massively underfunded in terms of research. So it's like if you look, like if you think of a charity straight away, the biggest one you'll probably think of is cancer research, things like that. You know what I mean? They're like, everybody knows that we need to cure it. Whereas IBD, sort of, even though it's bad and everything, it's sort of, I don't know, it's sort of like not pushed to the side, but it's not as well known. So no. people don't think, oh, that's where I want to give my money to, or it only seems to be like if you know somebody that's got it.
Yeah.
So if my car or whatever sort of, and people raising awareness sort of raises the profile for IBD and charities in general, then again, that's a win. So yeah, like I said, the main goal is to find something rather than just sort of like a treatment that's sort of used for something else, which I've discovered as I've gone along. It's sort of, I think the tofacitinib I run is used for something to do with arthritis as well. We all seem to have drugs that aren't specific to colitis. They seem to be something that's for something else, but it sort of helps with colitis or Crohn's or something, or your IBD in general.
Yeah. I completely agree, because like with infliximab, for example, like infusion drugs, they are what cancer patients take. So it's not, like you say, it's not a specific thing for like IBD. It's just something else that can treat like Crohn's or colitis with that kind of medication, and it is on for like a period of time. Like I think they fund it and stuff, and it could possibly run out and stuff like that. And it is quite scary. You're on these medications, though, isn't it? Because it does really dampen your immune system.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I ended up, when I went on to tofacitinib, I think one of the side effects was shingles, and I got that straight away. Literally, I was on it a week and I got shingles, so I had to stop taking it. And then I got a kidney infection not long after that. I don't know if that was to do with the drugs or what, but I were on quite a lot of drugs at this point. And then obviously I got COVID, and then so it's sort of like having a rubbish immune system. COVID, like in my household, it's like people got the sniffles. Whereas when I got COVID, I was bedridden for 4 days. I ended up going into hospital to have the antiviral infusion for that, because it absolutely nailed me. But then again, it's like you say, with a weakened immune system, it seems to, like, whatever you get seems to be double what someone else gets or triple what somebody else gets.
Yeah, like what? So, like, it was that the first time you got COVID then?
Yeah, and it, I don't want it again. It sort of got forgot about in a way, because my little lad had it and he just sort of like had a bit of a stiff neck from it. But I thought I didn't end up getting it when he got it, and then it's sort of like gone on, and I thought, COVID's kind of been forgot. Well, it's not forgot about, but people are less worried about it. It seems now, doesn't it? And no one's really like, you see the odd person wearing masks and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I got it this time, I couldn't believe I got it, and I was like, no way. And I'd taken all the lateral flow tests, and they were sort of lateral flow were coming back negative, but I knew something was wrong, and I was thinking, oh my god, is this to do with my IBD? Is this something else? And then I did one of the tests where you go into the, like the testing centres, PCR test, and that came back positive straight away. So yeah, it's not enjoyable, COVID. I'm advised getting it. I don't know if have you had it or
No, I've been really careful. I have because at the start, I started to create like this kind of podcast thing where I was just like, more things to do. So I haven't when I have gone out, I have been careful and stuff. So I have took a few risks. I'd say that like look onto some places that I've really wanted to go to. Like yeah, like I met Harry Redknapp quite recently.
all right.
I went to like an event with him and I like meet and greet him and stuff. And at a time like that, I didn't want to wear my mask. I would normally, and I shook his hand and everything, but it's something like that. Like it's one lifetime thing, isn't it? Like you're not going to be Harry Redknapp for like every day of the week. So
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is like when it first happened and everything, I was terrified because the media was sort of like, oh, if you go outside and get it, you're gonna die immediately, and it was like, oh my god, and it was like I say, I was terrified. But then as time's gone on, I've got a bit more lax with it. I'm like you say, I'm probably not as careful as I should be, but like where I work now, you don't because the government changed all the rules. People don't really wear masks anymore because you don't have to. It's like unless you have to do something, people don't do it. And I work in retail, so like you've seen people all the time. I mean, you can wear a mask; it's absolutely fine. But I don't know. I think it's a bit of a weird one now, isn't it? Where like if someone's wearing a mask, it's like not the norm anymore. I don't know. It seems it like round here. Like when I went to it's like when I went to Wales, and they were going on about COVID on the news because I think Wales and Scotland were like the last places to sort of lower the restrictions, weren't they? And I went to Wales and I had a mask on, and they were looking at me like I had three heads or something. It was really weird. And I thought, oh, from the news, it's really strict here, but it didn't seem to be. So I suppose it's like the areas, which depending on which area you go to, really. Like I don't know, I haven't been down south or anywhere since it all happened, so I don't know if I don't know how people have adapted to it there or what, but. Yeah, I would just don't get it. If you're going to carry on, be careful. Just be careful because just don't get it because, yeah, it was rubbish for me. So
yeah, because like you say, it has been forgotten about, and it's quite crazy, isn't it? Because like you go for one stage at the beginning of the pandemic with the where you get a letter from the government, say you're vulnerable, like shielding, and now everyone go on about and do what they want really, and like since kind of like the war, what happens over there is that like that has been more talked about, even though it's bad and stuff, but it's more talked about than actually the actual pandemic as a whole.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it's just like the government just sort of got to a point and sort of went, right, that's enough now. We're not dealing with this anymore. And they kind of just sort of switched off about it. Like you say, from the beginning, when you were getting letters and you were told to stay inside and things like that, you were like, oh my God. But now, I don't know. It's just sort of gone, no, we're done. We're done with COVID. We're on to something else. So
yeah. Because what I'd go to my local football team and I would be the only one wearing a mask, and you get looks at like why you got this on, and then you think to yourself, why am I the only one who's got this on? Surely there's like you say, there's the odd other person that has it and stuff, but yeah, it's quite crazy that a lot of people are not even paying attention to it. I understand people who are maybe not at risk won't be as bothered. Don't get me wrong. If I weren't at risk, I'd probably take more risk, and I'll still be curious. I'll still be really like careful and stuff.
Yeah.
And you just think like at the start as well, with people buying toilet rolls and jams and everything. You think people be
God, I know. Yeah.
they'll be like that anyway. and stuff. But it's just crazy how people's minds work, don't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the government's helped that, have they, really, with having sort of like when everyone were taking it deadly serious, which you should have been, and they were sort of having parties or whatever else they were doing. So I think they've done a lot of damage with that. Like, not to get all into politics and everything, but I think they've done a lot of damage with that. Whereas people have sort of gone, well, if they can do it, then why am I bothering doing it? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's like it's crazy, isn't it? Like with that side of things, that like it's how it's going to work. Like you say, if someone don't have to now, they won't. Like I've had people say to me, which kind of it probably annoys you a little bit when they say this. Um, like I don't have to wear a mask now. Like the government said we don't have to do it, and then you think to yourself, just because they say that doesn't mean you have to. You can still choose to. There are people out there who
yeah,
choose to do it because it's a safety thing. Although every mask isn't great, that there's certain ones that are better than other ones. Um, like the ones they wear in hospital aren't the best. Um, and I think quite recently actually there's no rules in my hospital anyway where you actually have to keep distance and wear masks now, because I think they kept that in the
yeah.
hospitals for a while longer than everywhere else.
Yeah, it's just like I say, I just find it crazy now because when I had COVID and I ended up going into hospital for antivirals, I saw that paraded through a ward, and I don't like. Don't get me wrong, I don't know if it was a COVID ward or what, but I was sort of like paraded around the hospital like the long way around, and then sort of dumped into this room with another guy that had COVID. Didn't really get told what was going on. I was like, surely there must be like a back entrance to come in and sort of like just go straight into this room or whatever. I don't know, it just seemed really weird. It was like I'd gone the longest way around the hospital to spread it as far as I could before I got to this. Oh yeah, it was crazy. I found it really weird. But yeah, like I say, it might have been a COVID ward. I don't know. Like, I'm not knocking anything like the NHS do, because I think out of all of this, they've had the roughest deal. When I were in hospital, like COVID weren't rife then, but they were just still run ragged. So yeah, I think it's done them a lot of damage. And like I say, they've worked all these hours and they've done everything. And I think they're the real heroes of it all, not like the government or anything. So, like I
Yeah,
say, not to get too political about it, but it opened my eyes when I went into hospital,
yeah,
and I saw how hard that they were just non-stop. You know, they didn't even look like they were having breaks. So yeah,
yeah.
I have a lot of respect for them.
What when you had COVID, like what was the main things that affected you? Do you think?
What,
Was
like the symptoms?
yeah, the symptoms, yeah,
Um, it was just, I literally, it just absolutely, I couldn't get out of bed. My whole body hurt. Even my eyes, like even looking around a room, my eyes hurt. Just had no energy whatsoever. And I think for like 2 days solid, I slept. They were just, and that's just not me at all, because I'm like quite active. I'm always doing something. If anything, I'm doing too much. But yeah, just absolutely. And I like coming downstairs to go to the fridge was like a mission in itself. Um, yeah, it's like you normally have no energy from Crohn's or colitis or something like that, but this will like, I don't know. I described it as man flu times 20. You know, so it's yeah, it were rough, and it just knocks you. You just don't want to do anything. You just want to sleep. That's all you want to do.
yeah, yeah. I haven't had the experience, but I imagine because I always like relate it to, in a way, like you can relate COVID to IBD anyway, although they're two separate things,
Yeah,
but everyone gets it differently, don't they? Like Crohn's, colitis, and IBD.
yeah, definitely. Like I say, like in my house, it just seemed like a bit of a cold,
Mm.
but to me, it yeah, it would just absolutely ruin me. And the antivirals, even after I had them, because they sort of wanted to give it me in tablet form at first, and I said, "Oh no, I don't really want to do tablet form because I've got colitis." And it seems like if I have, like when I've had iron tablets in the past, that upset my stomach. I said, "So ideally, I don't really want to take tablets." And they said, "Oh, we can do an infusion. We just didn't think you'd want to have like a needle in your arm." And I'm like, "Well, I'm used to that. Don't worry about it." So I said I'd rather have the infusion. So I had the infusion. I don't know whether it sort of like flushes it out of your system or what, but probably felt rough after having that done as well. I don't know if it like sort of accelerated it or what, but like, after a couple of days I was fine. Um, but yeah, that felt rough after that. And I was like, oh my god, I've been for this, and this has made me feel worse. But I think it definitely helped. And like I say, like people said to me since, saying, "Can you imagine what you'd have been like if you wouldn't have had any of the jabs?" And I didn't really think about that. at first. But yeah, if I wouldn't have had any of the jabs, and I've had, what have I had now? I've had 3 of them. Yeah, if I wouldn't have had any of them, I think I'd have probably been 10 times worse. So yeah, I suppose you have to look at it that way as well.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you do think of it like they're having the jabs as well, like how many we're gonna have to have, don't you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like it's one of them in it now where I think it'll be like the flu jab, won't it?
Yeah.
Part of me is quite glad that I've got it, to be honest with you, because I was sort of thinking to myself, if you go down the line, these strains are going to change all the time of COVID and things like that. What if they get worse, or I don't know. What if they get stronger, or surely it's better to get it when it's not as bad, sort of thing. Yeah, so that's just my way of thinking. I don't know whether that helps or you have more antibodies from it or what. I don't know.
Like,
So yeah.
anyway, like for me, during the ongoing pandemic, I'd prefer to meet someone that's had COVID than someone who hasn't, because you'd be more comfortable with them and stuff, wouldn't you? Because they've had it, they possibly could get it again, but at least they've had it in a way, which is not good, but in a way it is good because you've had it once means that
Yeah.
you know what it's like, and you can make. I think I'm just more comfortable speaking, like meeting up with people like that and stuff. Really.
You see, at the end of the day, it's whatever makes you comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like the RBD thing. If you want to talk about it, talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. If you want to show that you want to raise awareness, do that. If you don't, that's cool as well. So yeah, everyone's got their own way of doing things, haven't they? So yeah, it's like all these people that don't want to take the jab. If you don't want to take the jab, don't take the jab. That's up to you. I'm not going to preach to anyone about having it or anything like that. But yeah, that's end of the day. We all have choices, don't we? So
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Like, have you ever had to go into hospital because you've had like a really bad like flare up or anything, and had to go into the A&E?
yeah, this last one that I had, that sort of like gave me the idea to do the car. They told me that they'd rung me up and they said, "You're in all your results have come back. You're not in a good way." I have quite a good relationship with my IBD nurse, so I can sort of like email her and she'll get back to me pretty quick. And she knows I'm doing all the awareness things, so she's like, "Oh, we've got to keep you going. We've got to keep you going. You're doing a good job for us and all this stuff." But yeah, that she sort of like emailed. She rung me up and she said, "You're not in a good way, Craig. We know what you like. We know that you'll put work first and things like." Because she'd ring me up and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm really busy with work. I can't come in and do this. I can't come in and do that." And I was putting work first for everything, and it would. Well, now I look back on it, it would daft. But that's just who I am. But she said, your results are really bad. You need to come in. We can't force you in, but we're really advising strongly that you need to come in. And I was like, well, how long is this going to take? And she said, "Oh, just pack a bag for a couple of nights." She obviously lied to me because I was still there a month later, which I thanked her for when I saw her in hospital. But yeah, that was probably the worst time that I've had it. Being in hospital. I mean, there's probably other times that I should have been in hospital, but I've avoided it, which again probably hasn't helped me in any way whatsoever. But yeah, this time sort of like woke me up, and then speaking to doctors and them sort of saying, "Look, you're sort of like running out of time on the meds, sort of thing. You might have to have surgery soon and stuff like that." Yeah, it's everybody telling me that I just need to listen to my body and
Yeah,
take this more seriously than I were doing, because like I say, I was putting work first and just feeling like I needed to do a good job. And at the end of the day, they don't think any better of you for it. They don't, if I left like tomorrow, then they'd just replace me. So yeah, I've sort of got that mentality now where if it don't work for me, then I'm just going to cut it out of my life now. I'm like getting rid of negatives now.
yeah,
Whereas I feel like I've gone along for a long time being ill and just going along with everything, and trying to make everybody else happy rather than putting my health first. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I think with A&E, like I think quite a lot of people on the IBD community agree, because like it's not like going to A&E is something that accidental, isn't it? Like you have an accident and everything, and you should go maybe to another place. There should be an apartment in a hospital where people maybe would have like a chronic illness, maybe, because it's something that would be nice. Because it's not A&E. Like A&E, you have to wait their hours sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
And you could be in that physical pain where no one's going to see it, and then they think, "Why are you here?" and stuff.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I'd be in bed and like, because obviously nobody really knew me there. I'd lost a lot of weight at this point, and sort of in there. And I think a cleaner came in one day, and she was like, "Oh, you're all right," sort of thing. You don't look very like ill. So that's like the typical thing of someone that has IBD, like compared to everybody else that has physical sort of like things that you can see. But then if like people that know me were like, I think they was noticing it at work and stuff. Like I've lost so much weight, like I was having to buy like whole new clothes. Do you know what I mean? Because nothing fit me anymore. I'd lost that much weight. So yeah, it were a wake up call with this one, I think, and that people sort of saying to you, look, this could get really bad really quick. So yeah, my advice to anyone is don't put it off. Don't put anything off. If the IBD nurses or the doctors tell you, like, I'm not saying they're right all the time, but if it's going to benefit your health, then just do it. You know, don't put something like work first, because yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I agree, and like it is annoying when you do get moved about as well and have to wait till a long time. So, cause I don't like being close to anyone anyway, even before COVID, because I like my own space. But yeah, it would like I lost quite a lot of weight as well, and I got diagnosed by a cardiomyopathy as well. So, um, that is it's not the best. It's not a nice way to get diagnosed, is it?
No, I don't. I mean, as you see a lot of these people now with this, is it pill cam?
Yeah.
Where I've seen people sharing that now, and I'm like when you went for a colonoscopy, it seems so like prehistoric compared to this pill cam sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it's not. It's like saying, like, for somebody younger that, and I'm starting to realize that you can get this at any age. It's not really like a nice thing to go through at any age, really, but especially your young age, going for a colonoscopy or anything like that. I think I was, yeah, I was 18 when I had mine done, and that was bad enough. Whereas now I've sort of like accepted it, but like as a kid, I'd say that's a pretty big deal, you know.
Yeah.
Because there was someone that shared something the other day, and like their son were going through, infusions and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, do you mind if I send him out some stickers and some stuff like that? And and just send him out just to cheer him up a little bit, because it must be so rough at a young age going through all that and not knowing.
Yeah, it is kind of hard, isn't it, when you're younger, because you don't really have much of a life, I suppose. Like with maybe meeting up with friends and doing stuff with them as much as you would have liked, and at school maybe as well, because that's that time you'd be at school, um and yeah, it's not nice, and not knowing, and like you say, because I get told it's rare and stuff like that, and I find out that I don't know anyone. I don't know what this is. I don't know who else will have it. And then the years later, you learn there's other people who've got it as well, which it does help, doesn't it? That lots of people have IBD.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a way, I suppose you're lucky. Or, well, not lucky that you've got it, but you're like, out of all the people that can get, I'd rather win the lottery than
Yeah,
have IBD. But that's just like I say, the cards that you dealt, aren't you? So, because I was sort of like, I don't know if it was on Crohn's Colitis UK the other day, that they put some like statistics out of how many people have got it or how many people are diagnosed a year. And although it's a lot, it's not a lot. I don't know. I'd expect more to have it, but it seems to be on the increase for some reason. So I don't know whether someone like that'll get figured out at some stages. I don't know. Like I say, I have no clue what it's about in terms of how do you get it, or I don't know. I've got my own like little theories and things, that there's a lot of processed foods around nowadays and stuff like that, and what they put in foods.
yeah,
That's what I mean. Like, a lot of it now, like I've changed in terms of I don't eat as much processed foods and things like that, or try and avoid it as much as I can. So,
mm,
but like I say, that's that what works for me doesn't work for somebody else.
yeah.
Someone could just eat McDonald's every day and have IBD and be absolutely cool with it. But yeah, for me, it's just the other way around.
Yeah, you just have to kind of avoid that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. You've just got it's like learning your body, isn't it? Really, you're learning what it wants and what it don't want, or what your colitis wants and what it doesn't want.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. Like I can't have caffeine, so I've got to avoid that, still have a coffee every morning. Well, most mornings I try to, because I don't know, for me, having caffeine-free stuff doesn't taste any different to when they had caffeine, really.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it's just the sort of things like it's fine if you can't have something. You can always have something else probably that you can have.
It's like, you know, something's going to ruin you, but you think, oh, I really want that, and you still do
Yeah,
it anyway. So it's just like, yeah. I mean, I've always said that I don't want it to control me or run my life for me or anything like that. So yeah, there are occasions where I know something's not going to be right for me, but you'll still do it because that's what you want to do at the time. And I feel like if it got to a point where it just controlled me and I were doing nothing, or I weren't eating certain things, or I don't know, I don't want it to get to that stage. Do you know what I mean? I don't want it to control my life.
no, no, it's that's it. Like I think you can be in a way. Some of us can be lucky in a way to not have like surgery for a long while or not have a stomach bag.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
Yeah,
like because some people have it really young, don't they?
yeah,
That kind of stuff, and kind of been fortunate in a way. That the IBD's been on our side and stuff, but like there's that sort of like statistic, isn't it? Like if you're diagnosed younger with IBD, that you're most likely to have it in the future, like
yeah,
surgery and stuff.
yeah. I mean, like, it's like now, it's like some people just like I've spoken to people that have like literally woke up and they've had surgery, you know, because they were that close to dying, really. That there were another option, and that's, like I say, I don't see any side of it, like the surgery or anything, as a negative, because if it's going to save your life at the end of the day, you're going to take it, aren't you? It's not,
Yeah.
you know, you're not going to be told you might die if you don't have this surgery, and then you're going to say, all right, well, it don't matter then, I'll just die then. No one's going to do that. So yeah, it's whatever works for each person, do it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Like it's important to. It is important to speak about it in the end, isn't it? Because if you hide it longer and longer, symptoms get worse, and it could be worse. It's like anything. Like if you see a little thing going on in your life, and you probably automatically think it's Crohn's related or something. It's better to get that checked rather than wait because you just never know what it is.
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean, at the beginning when I was first diagnosed, I didn't take, like I said, I didn't take it that seriously. And I think it was more my mum than anything else. Like, because
Yeah,
obviously passing blood is usually related to bowel cancer or anything like
yeah,
that. So I think my mum was taking it more seriously and sort of thinking, oh my God, what is this? And she probably, without saying to me, probably immediately thought, oh, it's bowel cancer, you know, it's cancer related or something. And then I think when she found out colitis, it was like a relief for her in a way.
mhm.
But yeah, it's like, I've known people before, like I speak to people at work and stuff, and they'll say, "Oh, I've got this, or this happened," or I'm like, "Just want to get checked out. What is the worst that can happen? You know,
Yeah,
you're better
yeah,
to find something early than you are late." So
yeah. But it does like what you say. It is like when you see that blood at a young age, it is hard, isn't it? Like looking at that
yeah,
because it's not something you want to look at, and like it's almost like a bloodbath in the toilet, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. I mean, like the last time when I went to when I went, we were in the hospital this time. It was like, I didn't look in the toilet. It was like a horror film. You know what I mean? It was like there was just blood everywhere, and you're just thinking, "Oh my God, how am I getting by with passing this much blood?" You know, and I think that's when the nurses sort of knew and sort of said, "You need to come in because this is getting out of hand." But yeah, like again, if you're young, how do you start that conversation? You know, oh, there's blood in the toilet. So there's a lot of stigma in there around going in the toilet or anything like that. So yeah, it's that's why I have like on one of the stickers on my car is I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram, the bowel movement,
Yeah,
which is to do with bowel cancer and things like that. And their logo is like the emoji poo with like I don't even, I think it's on their page, and like that's on my car. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not. That's how not bothered I am now that I can have emoji poos on my car. Do you know what I mean? I'm not bothered. If that wakes somebody up and it makes them get checked out, then cool, that's fine.
yeah,
You know, it's done its job. So
yeah. It's always nice to have like a little joke about like the poo side of things as well. I think because like we saying earlier, like it like it makes you positive and stuff. Well, although we have our bad days, we've got to have a laugh about it, haven't we?
well, that's it. I mean, if you it's like I say, I never used to talk about it, but I'll go into work now and start, oh, colonoscopy, and just generally just like have a laugh about it. I'd have never brought up a colonoscopy or anything like before, so it's in a way it's made it like, and seeing what other people post and stuff, it just makes you feel more comfortable, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think so. Like I've since my diagnosis in 2017. I had a colonoscopy that year. Then like last year, I had a sigmoid oscopy just to see what's going on and stuff. And they're two very different experiences because I had gas and air last time, then I had sedation the first time. So it is um it is different and like different process as well because you don't have to have all the drink when you have the sigmoidoscopy.
Oh
But
yeah, I prefer the sigmoidoscopy 100%
yeah,
because you don't have to have all the bowel prep, do you? Which is
uh,
probably worse than the actual colonoscopy.
yeah, yeah, because you have to I think they put I forgot what it's called. Yeah, they put that thing down your bum, don't they? And that makes you go loo.
Yeah, an
Um,
enema. Yeah,
yeah, and when I had that enema, I was on toilet about half an hour. I was in hospital and stuff, and like because they say try wait at least 10 minutes or so before you go, and as soon as it's in, I'm going. I can't wait any longer. Um,
yeah,
and the thing is, it was a pot of blood. It was in the end. I did go to toilet, of course, and it was a pot of blood. And I said to them, pot of blood. Um, and everything. And in the end, they said everything's fine and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's like that, isn't it? And yeah, I think Wolfsby is better. Um, it's just it's just what
yeah. I
you
prefer
like.
out of like, don't get me wrong, I don't enjoy it, and I don't think, oh yeah, I fancy a sigmoidoscopy today. But out of everything, the sigmoidoscopy is like, it's so much better. I mean, you're better than me. Like, I've tried guessing air before, and I don't know whether it's because I've been flaring at the time and my stomach wall's been inflamed. But the pain that I felt sometimes when they've sort of like brushed past my stomach wall with a camera or anything, I'm like, oh, give me the sedation. I'm you're not out of it, are you? But you sort of like, you're not asleep, but you sort of, I don't know. It just, I get more comfort from it. But yeah, whatever gets you through any of them
Yeah,
experiences, then yeah,
yeah.
do what makes you comfortable.
At the time, I didn't really have a choice because I had breakfast in the morning, and you're not supposed to eat either when you have that sedation. Um,
Yeah,
but the thing I liked about gas and air is like it makes you like, quite drunk. I think, and I was keep having it, and I shouldn't have said it. Like I was having it for the sake that I wanted to feel that way.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it keeps me like busy, I suppose, rather than focusing on it and talking
yeah,
and
yeah.
talking to them. And like I did, I did have to stop at one point. No, well, not stop. I was just like groaning at points when it was hurting and stuff. So they didn't do it. Well, they did do it all, but it was just parts where it was a bit uncomfortable, where I didn't feel when I had the sedation. Um, because with the colonoscopy, I had when I had mine, I had both like one after the other. I didn't go in for one and then like one
Oh
down your
God,
throat, then come back. So I just wanted it all done as quickly as possible.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I remember when I first went. I think that were when I was 18, and they did the colonoscopy, and I don't know what they want. They call the one down the throat. And I found the one down the throat worse because you sort of can't avoid seeing it coming, can you really? Do you know what I mean? And then you feel like your natural reaction is to like choke. And then I think I remember him sort of like not knocking me out at that stage, but giving me more drugs. So
Yeah,
I don't really remember what happened after that. But I've never
yeah,
had to have that one since because obviously they found it's colitis and there's no point going that way anymore. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. Because like I was trying to like at first I was all right then. What it's almost like this big black thing goes down. It's like that tube goes down, yeah, and you think what's going on, and then
yeah, it's not
then
the
it
nicest.
happens, and then it happens, and they say like just relax, relax, and and you're thinking how am I gonna relax?
Yeah, yeah. How can you relax? It's like it's so normal to them, isn't it? You just think
uh,
it's so easy for them to say. But yeah, it's not like a relaxing experience. I don't think. But
no, no, but I haven't had that since I was diagnosed, so I'm
no,
grateful
I haven't.
not to have that.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I much prefer
Definitely.
the one down your bum. Like it feels warm in a way, doesn't it? Like
To be honest with you, they sort of like they come in and they say, "Oh, do you want gas and air, or do you want the?" I think they've called it. I think they've called it the 20 panta before. So it's like, I know, like, yeah,
well,
it does feel like you've drunk too much, to be fair.
yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, just give me that. Just give me that. That's what I want. And they're like, are you sure you're only having a sigmoidoscopy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm having it done. You're not having it done. So yeah, that's what I want. So yeah, give me that.
yeah. It's, like as long as as long as it's done everything and like it's what they want and stuff. Like you say, it's not something that I'd ask for every day or what we'd ask for every day, but
No,
it's stuff we have to
but it's
deal with,
like,
isn't it?
yeah, it's what you have to do. And if it gets to the problem, then yeah,
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. That's why
yeah,
they always say to me, like, if I've heard them telling people, you sort of, well, they've brung them out before, and they've like, oh, you must have eaten, so we're gonna have to do it again. And I never want them saying that to me. Like, you go in there, you're doing the job, and that's it. We don't need to do it again. We don't need to do it 2 times in this, like, you know what I mean, in the same week or whatever. Just get it done
yeah,
and get it dusted.
yeah.
So yeah,
I think that pain, like that burning feeling, that first time, and before I had that colonoscopy, it was almost like your insides were on fire.
yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah,
don't,
I've described when they've, like I say, I don't like, not to scare anyone that's never had a colonoscopy or whatever before, but like, when, because I think I was like uber sensitive because I was flaring and everything at the time, and my stomach were in a bad way, and it's sort of like it was an emergency one. I got taken in pretty quick, um, and I think it's because I was so inflamed and it was just such a mess in there that as soon as they brushed past with the camera, it was like I felt like I'd been stabbed, really.
yeah, that's what it
Um,
feels like, doesn't it? Like acid in you.
yeah, yeah, and it's horrible. But like I say, I'm not trying to. If anyone's watching this and you're
Yeah,
sort of like, oh my god, I don't want to have one now, then it's not like that for everybody. And I think a lot of it is where they blow you up full of air as well.
yeah, yeah,
I think that's
uh,
that's one of the most uncomfortable
yeah,
bits.
yeah, yeah. It's like you're getting a balloon or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
can
yeah.
just feel it. I think that's most what the pain is, just being blown up.
Yeah,
So yeah, you
like
feel like you're gonna pop.
yeah, yeah. Like there are some really uncomfortable parts. More so probably the beginning and the end, and maybe the middle of like doing it. And then I think it's about 15 minutes it takes them to do. And yeah, but when it's done, you think, I've done this now. You can do stuff like this again and stuff. But it's just something that you have to do. I think once you have one, it won't be your last.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like, because the other side of it as well is, the reason I went, that I go from, they screen you for bowel cancer, don't they, and stuff like that.
Mm.
So, and because it tends to be people with RBD and things seem to have a higher risk of it, then yeah. The only time it sort of annoyed me is when I was feeling all right, and then I had to have all the bowel prep and everything else, and then after that, it sort of upset my stomach, and I went into a bit of a flare after that, which annoyed me because I'd sort of been all right, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
I'd had this bowel prep and it upset everything. So I don't know. I think they need to get like a better way of doing. I think the bowel prep's really aggressive. In turn, well, it is aggressive, isn't it? You sort of drink it, and before you know it, you're at the toilet. But I just think it's not the greatest thing for people with RBD, and you don't want to. The goal is not to be in a flare,
yeah,
and the fact that potentially can put you in a flare is quite annoying, really. So hopefully this pill cam thing, I'm guessing it's really expensive. I don't know whether you still have to have bowel prep for that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've only seen like people sharing it here, there, and everywhere. But
yeah.
it's not something I've ever had done. So
No,
yeah,
no. I think with that bowel prep, you think the pill, as you say, I think you swallow it and everything, and the camera's in there, and then I think when you go to the toilet, I would have thought it would just go out like that. Um,
yeah,
I don't-
sort of have to dig it back out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But but with that, I yeah, it's a nice, it's a good way forward, I suppose, for people with IBD. That pill.
I mean, as time goes on, it's only it's got to get better, hasn't it? And but again, I suppose it's like the funding side of it. I bet in the NHS, I bet it gets less funding than other things. Um, so yeah, don't get me wrong. I probably understand that the pill cam thing's really expensive, and using the old school colonoscopy camera thing is probably a lot cheaper, you know. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I get that, but again, regarding the awareness side of it, I suppose the more awareness that we all bring to it is maybe it'll get more funding. I don't know,
Like,
fingers crossed it does.
Fingers crossed. And like when I actually had that prep, I didn't even go to the toilet like when I had the prep for the colonoscopy because I was that empty and I wasn't eating as well, and I couldn't eat anything.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, oh, what's going on here? Am I supposed to be going to the toilet or am I not? And the thing is, I was empty anyway. So
I know. Well, when they say to me, "Oh, do you want the bowel prep?" I'm like, "What's the point? I'm probably empty anyway. I've been going to the toilet like 30 times a day. There can't be anything in there, But I definitely think that makes you appreciate food more, having the bowel prep and stuff, because you can't eat for 24 hours, and then you just want to eat like your most favorite meal ever when you get out of there, because you sort of get out, don't they, and they give you like biscuits or a sandwich or something, and you're like, no, I want something. I want a roast dinner or something.
When I had my colonoscopy, I remember it was really early in the morning, so I had toast afterwards. So I just wanted to get it done. I didn't want to wait like hours in the day, and stuff. Yeah, I had toast and everything. I've had a cup of coffee and stuff, but I think because you're that hungry, and although when you are on the flare, that if you can't eat stuff, you get bloated, don't you? So that's hard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like I say, everyone's different, aren't they? So what one person eats, someone else it'll absolutely ruin. So it's about educating yourself and learning what your body wants.
I completely agree, and I think like it's been really good talking about like your ulcerative colitis, Craig, and your car, because I think it's a good name what you call it, driven to fight, because everyone is driven to fight if they have a car or not. So I think it's really relevant to IBD.
No, I appreciate it. It's just like I say, like you're doing your thing with the podcast and everything, and I really appreciate you like asking me on. So it's whatever you can do to raise awareness on. It's all a plus for me, and everyone's got their own that little way of doing things. So anyway, it's a positive. So
Is there like any? I know you spoke like it said about a lot about advice, but is there anything else you just want to say to finish things up?
Like I say, the biggest thing for me is even a lot. What I used to do is sort of follow people that had Crohn's and colitis, but not engage with them or message them or write on their pages or comment or anything. I just sort of like watch in the background, and I think a lot of people do that on mine, to be fair, which is absolutely fine. But like I say, I wish I'd have opened up and sort of spoke to people that had it more, because as much as your family mean well and everything else, they'll never understand what it feels like. And my family, don't get me wrong, my family have been really supportive, but I'll always feel more comfortable talking to somebody that's got it than somebody that hasn't got it. So my advice is speak to someone that's got it, even if you're private messaging them, or you don't have to put it out in the public domain. Do you know what I mean? You can message them or whatever. But even me, if someone wants to message me, that's absolutely fine. My messages are I always read all my messages. I don't scan past any of them, and I always reply to everything. So if that's the way people want to do it, the best thing I've ever done, like I say, is just open up to people that have it and speak to people that have it. So I'd have never done a podcast ages ago. I'm not going on a podcast talking about it, and I'd have just avoided it. So things just, it feels better, and it makes me feel less alone, and I hope that does for everybody else.
Yeah, I think the pandemic's helped in ways to open up more. I think, because I would never know what a podcast was. I created it in 2020 for something to do, talk to different people with IBD, Crohn's colitis. I do some I've started this year to kind of want to open up to other people with other chronic illnesses as well, because I think it's nice to hear about different ones as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because I suppose we're all related in a way, aren't we? We're all right. It might not be stomach related, but you've still got the same feelings that So it's
very interesting, and to speak about people about autism too. I like to always speak about different kind of things, because I think it's really, really nice to hear people's journey stories, and it's been nice hearing yours, Craig, because I think it's good what you're doing. Hopefully that you get like your racing license to do some races this year.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. It'll probably financially ruin me if I do start racing, but I'll be distracted, so that's the main thing.
Maybe we'll see you in Formula One, maybe. one day maybe.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm too old for that now. You have to be
Yeah.
about blooming 15 now, don't you, to
Oh,
do it? So,
oh, you
yeah.
do. Who knows? You might be able to coach at the sidelines, maybe.
Just going to one of them events,
Yeah.
or going like I'll be going to a lot of British touring car events this year. Like that's the main one that I watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've like through the opening the page, I've like spoke to a few British touring car drivers as well. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep pushing through and try and get my logo on as many cars as possible, you know, and just raise awareness that way. And yeah, I've got some big plans. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed they sort of come off. And yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I look forward to seeing it, Craig, and stuff. Well, it's been great talking to you, Craig, and thank you for coming on.
No, thank you, Mason. Thank you very much.
Thank you.